We're carrying on the conversation today about the gut and how it's linked to the skin. I'm Stephanie and I'm the division specialist here at Elénzia. With decades experience within the aesthetic field, this topic you don't want to miss. I'm also here with Alexander, our lead nutritionist here at Alexander. So, gut and how it's supported to the skin.
So, Steph, this is an incredible topic because the gut itself impacts the entire body. So, the gut itself is either going to be the hub of inflammation or the hub that supports functional bodily health and functional skin health. So when we talk about gut health itself, your gut distributes things around the entire body through the bloodstream. So when we talk about feeding our skin with the things that it needs to thrive.
Okay, within aesthetics, we're taught how things topically work on the surface of the skin. So are you telling me that my £100 moisturiser isn't going to help cure my rosacea?
Unfortunately, Steph, it's deeper than the skin itself. And there's a big link. It's called the gut-skin axis. And that is just a way of saying that our gut and our skin is intimately linked. The microbiome between our skin, all of those millions and billions of bacteria and yeast and fungi that live on the skin, interact with our skin and with the microbes throughout the rest of our body, which includes inside the gut. So there's this constant communication. The gut's communicating with the skin's communicating with the gut. And if the gut's not happy, that's going to show up on the skin.
It does, and we've seen it so many times within aesthetic fields that people are coming in with things like rosacea, and it's getting more, especially with the Western diet out there, is we're seeing more things with rosacea, with acne, with things like psoriasis and eczema, which are also linked to a bad microbiome. What can we do to help change that?
There's lots of things that we can do, and it's not just what we eat, it's our lifestyle as well. So there's not just a gut-skin axis, there's also a gut-brain axis, and that's the same type of idea that our emotions, our mood, directly impact our gut, and our gut microbiome directly impacts our emotions as well. Wow. So it's a two-way street. And so when you're stressed, a stressed couple of days, a stressed week, that's going to impact your gut very quickly, but then that will impact your skin as well. Yeah. So you might experience those breakouts, or you might experience the worsening of your rosacea or whatever kind of symptoms you have, whether it's dryness or oiliness or, it exacerbates. So that means it makes things worse, the conditions that you already have on your skin.
I think that's really important, is when a client comes into an aesthetic clinic, is to ask those questions, is, are you stressed at the moment? It's a really great scene where a client comes in and they get to feel really comfortable with that practitioner, and they open up about so many different things to them. So recognizing if they have been stressed, it is going to be linked to the gut as well.
And that means it's going to be linked to the skin.
Exactly.
So everything's connected.
It is. It is.
That's not all. Practitioners can ask other questions as well, like, has that person been taking antibiotics? Have they been taking things like ibuprofen? Have they been taking antacids?
Okay.
All of these things are very common things that we take for whatever reason, but they all damage the gut lining itself.
Okay, so how does that actually happen? How does it damage the gut lining?
So a lot of the time, what they're doing is they're reducing that mucus barrier. And what it does is it protects those delicate cells that we've got in the gut lining. And it's only one cell layer thick, but it protects those cells from all of that material, all of that food material that's passing through the gut. And if you can imagine, the food passes through the gut, and along with it, it pulls along a layer of mucus. And that's fine. That's what's supposed to happen. But if that mucus isn't being replaced, then what ends up happening is that same food material comes down and starts to scrape, starts to irritate, and starts to damage the gut lining itself. And that causes a lot of inflammation.
Yeah.
That physically damages the gut, and then that stops it from doing what it's supposed to do, which is keep out certain things.
Okay.
And then essentially what happens is you've got this irritated cell layer,
Yeah.
and that's creating a lot of inflammation. And that inflammation is traveling throughout the entire body, including to the skin.
So with that, are you saying that there's a certain thing like is it called a leaky gut? So where the lining of the home of the microbiome, the
Yes.
gut,
Yeah.
it isn't holding on to that nutrients, and then that's where inflammations pass through the body.
So you've touched on another important aspect. The leaky gut is exactly what you said it is that breakdown of the delicate cells that line our gut. And there's two major drawbacks, or there's two major negative consequences. There's that increase in immune activation because you've got things passing into the body that shouldn't be there, and your immune system is going haywire, creating lots of inflammatory compounds, and that inflammation spreads throughout the entire body, and including to affect the skin as well. So that's part A. But then part B is that because the gut is damaged, it's not able to distribute those beneficial compounds that we might take through our diet or through our supplementation to support the skin itself.
Wow.
Because what happens is you take these antioxidants that, whether it's from grapefruit or from watermelon extract or whatever it's from, and you take them, and the idea is that they're going to come to your skin and they're going to reduce inflammation and reduce oxidative stress. But before it gets there, it has to go through the gut. And if the gut's inflamed, if the gut's in a position where, it's damaged, then those compounds are going to be used up to support the gut instead of getting to the skin where you want it to get. So supporting the gut health is that foundation that allows everything else that you do with your diet, with your supplementation, to actually make the most of supporting your skin health from within.
That's amazing. So when that gut isn't working properly, we see things on the topical surface of the skin like rosacea, like acne as well.
Yeah.
And with that, then it can obviously have that mental side effect as well with it.
And that makes everything worse, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you start overthinking things and increasing cortisol, increasing that stress hormone, and that communicates with your gut.
Yeah.
And then your gut is going to increase that inflammation, and that's going to worsen symptoms even more, worsen acne breakout even more. So it's a real vicious cycle, but we can put a stop to it.
We can.
Yeah.
And we're going to.
Absolutely.
Because I think as well, like I said before, so within the aesthetic field is we've been working on things topically with creams, then we work on things then we work on the skin with devices. But now it's time to then look at the skin from within.
Absolutely.
So tell me about elénzia Fix. How does that help with the skin's microbiome?
So you mentioned a really important thing, and in the aesthetics industry, we typically tend to look at things topically. And then we wonder why our results don't last as long as we think they should.
Yeah, exactly.
Why aren't we making permanent changes? Why does it keep coming back?
Yeah. A part of that as well is when a client comes in is they only see what's going on the topical surface or what they want. So then they'll be like, right, okay, well, yeah, I've got that, rosacea on my cheeks, but I need my line sorted out. So they'll end up investing within a little bit of Botox or something like that than the actual root cause of the problem.
They have their place. They both have their place. The topical treatments and the topical things that we do, they have those instant results. But what we do when we invest in nutrition, when we invest in supplementation, is we're really reinforcing that and enabling those investments that we make topically to be more effective and to just last longer. And you mentioned the elénzia Fix. Now that is our brand new gut health supplement. And what makes it so different to the supplements that are available already on the market, is they tend to focus on prebiotics and probiotics, and they're great. But what about the actual home of our microbiome? What about the actual gut itself? What about supporting the structure and the function of the gut? These are where these probiotics are supposed to live, but the house is on fire. So sending some food for them is all well and good, but they're not going to enjoy tucking into that meal while the entire house is on fire.
No, you wouldn't.
So supporting that foundation, that structure that they live in, is exactly what elénzia Fix is all about. And it does it in 3 key ways. Initially, it's soothing. It's got soothing botanicals like aloe vera and marshmallow root extract. So we know a lot about aloe vera in the aesthetics game because it's just such a soothing, cooling and calming botanical that's been used for thousands of years. And we just take that picture of that soothing aloe vera gel that we sometimes use, and we just apply that to inside our gut, where we've got that irritated surface, where we don't have that mucus layer, and we've got these exposed cells that are vulnerable and that are inflamed and that are, leaking lots of inflammatory compounds. But then we apply that nice layer of the aloe vera and these cooling, calming polysaccharides. And these coat and calm the gut.
So just top on that, you said the word polysaccharides. What does that mean?
So basically, it's a long and large compound molecule, and that's built up of sugars. Okay. And these sugars aren't like glucose or fructose or the things that you might add to your coffee. These are sugars that are broken down by certain species in the gut, called the Akkermansia muciniphila, and that basically means loves mucus. And what it does is it breaks down these big, massive, long chains into shorter ones, and these shorter ones feed other beneficial bacteria like the lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, and these are the species that we know from the back of certain types of probiotic drinks that we've got.
Yep.
So when we support certain species in the gut with the mucin, that there's this cross-feeding where they also support other beneficial microbes, and then you've got this generation of this harmony, where we've got all these species living together, supporting each other and supporting a healthy gut.
Amazing. Amazing.
So just to continue, we've got the soothe. Then we've got the protect, and this is all about supporting the actual production of the mucin itself. We've spoken about how when you strip that layer of mucin away, it exposes the cells to whatever's inside the gut to damage it, to stress it, and to create that inflammation and that chaos. So really supporting as much production as possible is what we need to give those cells that protection that they need, to give the microbiome the place that it needs to thrive,
right,
and that time that it needs to recover and regenerate. So what we're doing is really buying time for the gut cells to restore themselves. And we do that with 2 key ingredients. We've got a clinically studied postbiotic ingredient that really supports and stimulates mucin production. And then we have that alongside an acetyl D-glucosamine.
Wow. Now,
glucosamine, lots of people think about it and are like, yes, I know, my nan takes that for her joints. But it's a slightly different type of glucosamine that really supports gut barrier function. It reduces inflammation, and it's actually one of the building blocks of mucin. Wow. So we're providing the body with those building blocks that it needs to make the mucin and the stimulus to produce it. And when you take Fix, obviously you're drinking water, so really you're providing the body with basically everything it needs to produce that lovely mucus layer that's going to protect and house the microbiome. And then finally, we've got those ingredients like glutamine, vitamin D, zinc, and copper that really support the cells to regenerate, that support the regeneration of all of those cells in that gut itself, in the gut layer itself. So we're soothing the gut, we're protecting it, and we're supporting the restoration of the gut itself. And that's a nice overview, because once you've created that foundation, that harmony that we've been talking about, everything else in the body starts to fall into place.
Yeah.
You know, our mood starts to improve because we're actually producing those feel good chemicals inside our gut. That's leading to positive emotions in our mind, and then that's going to have a major beneficial knock-on effect on our skin health as well.
Amazing. I want to start taking it now.
Yeah.
So how is it that you take elénzia Fix?
Yes. So elénzia Fix is a powder product, and the dosage itself is flexible. So you can take 2 or 3 tablespoons, 2 or 3 level tablespoons over the course of a day. So that could mean if your gut health is not doing too well, but it's not doing too badly either, it just could be improved, then having a tablespoon in the morning with some water and a tablespoon in the evening, maybe before your main meal or before you go to bed. If you suffer with certain GI things like acid reflux or something in the night that affects your sleeping, then Fix might support that. But if your gut and if your skin health is in a place where it needs support, there's no two questions about it. You're struggling, your gut's all over the place, you've got sensitivities, then you can hop up to 3 doses. So that's 3 tablespoons per day, 1 with each main meal, 1 before each main meal, to really support the gut and prepare it for the digestion, to prepare it for everything that's going to happen when you start consuming that food.
Brilliant. So it's for those clients that they've got acne, that have got rosacea, they've got psoriasis, and then also eczema as well.
Yeah, and if they're also experiencing GI symptoms like bloating, gas, fluctuations between diarrhea and constipation, if they've got food sensitivities and things like that, if they've been on a course of antibiotics like we've been discussing, antibiotics, or they've been on a high dose of painkillers, things like that, then these individuals should be taking the full 3 tablespoon dose per day.
Okay, and what about clients that are taking a GLP-1 weight loss jabs? Should they be taking the 3, or would they go to lower than that?
There's no contraindication. That means there's no issue, or there's no negative reaction in the body when you take Fix alongside any type of GLP-1 agonist medication.
Okay.
So it's completely safe to take alongside that, and it's not something that is heavy, like a heavy protein shake or something like that. It's a very light drink with a slight tropical flavour. So it's something that's very easily added to your daily routine, and we've already had several people come back to us with how it's actually changed their life. You know, recently, someone I know dearly has been struggling with quite a lot of acid reflux, and that's been something that they've been dealing with for years.
Okay.
And we know in nutrition that going to something like an antacid isn't the idea, isn't the answer, especially long term, because what that means is, I've spoken about this on a previous episode, but when your stomach acid becomes less acidic, so when you take these antacids and make your stomach less acidic, then it really invites lots of bacteria to come up from lower down in your digestive tract to actually encroach higher up where they shouldn't be. So naturally, you've got the acid in your stomach, which kills off certain species of bacteria as it passes down, and it's designed to do that to keep certain species away. Not because they're naturally bad, but because they shouldn't be so high up in the digestive tract. So the human body is designed in this way. And when you take that balance out and those bacteria start to migrate up closer higher up the digestive tract, then that causes a lot of issues like reflux, like bloating, like gas, things like that. And this individual noticed a difference almost straight away.
Wow.
And it's quite rare when you talk about a gut supplement that actually makes such a rapid difference to someone's daily life. So really, it's got that short-term benefit, but also it's setting up your gut long-term, setting up the foundation of your gut health long-term, which of course is going to be supporting your skin health long-term as well.
I think that's one of the amazing things that we do here at Alexander is we don't just put ingredients in there just for the sake of it, is we really look at the root cause of the problems and we change people's lives, which are amazing.
I mean, when we formulate products and we use ingredients that have been clinically backed, and I read lots of scientific studies, but then when you actually have that feedback, when someone says something to you face to face, when you have that nice comment, it just brings it to life.
Yeah.
It brings it to life, and it's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
We want to change people's lives. And so, it really is an amazing part of working with elénzia and working with people.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all that information today. I think if I was a clinic owner and a practitioner that's been working on things like acne, rosacea, psoriasis, we now have a solution to help all of those problems and also not to waste the client's money on just topical products, but then look at what's the root cause of it. And like you said, it's that home of the microbiome, getting that working the way that it should be is going to lead to longevity in skin health.
Yeah, and total bodily health. Your mind's going to be in the right place, the emotions, your focus is going to be back. I mean, the benefits are endless.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that conversation today.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you. And thank you for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you've got any questions for myself or Alexander, please comment below. And if you'd like any more information on Fix or any of our other products, please go to elénzia.com.